I center myself and I fully recognize the infinite divine energy source. I am one in it, unconditional love. I step inside this space completely knowing I am unconditionally loved. I allow it to relax and center me. And this begins the 23 days of kindness. Day 1 and 2, ground zero. I first began thinking of the idea of documenting 23 days of kindness a week ago. It was in an effort to keep myself grounded in the newness of all I was remembering or experiencing as a being. I felt I finally understood what it meant to be born again. I knew I was spiritually evolving when I couldn't open the door to go back to my old self, and I looked forward eagerly, but not knowing what or who my new self is. I read somewhere this is called the Dark Night. I discovered her, and by her I mean myself, at different stages of my spiritual expedition. I could sense the her from the past. I call her limited her. She is always there, but has since defected to my purpose. I was then made aware of another self called ever-evolving her. She serves as a transitional host, as well as many other hers. I give them names in order to keep tabs on the surrendered ones. I am fully aware there is only one her. Each surrendered her signifies growth towards the I am. I am awakened and applying. Day 1. I was both excited and scared at the same time. As time went on, I noticed I could meet with limited her for different reasons. I wasn't allowing the union at first, but yielded under the condition that limited her is fully aware she had permanently submitted to now her. Now her speaking presently. I started to see the limitations I had placed on myself for many years, and how limited her created now her and their current experiences. I started to remember who I was, who I am, limitless. I exist to expand my consciousness to serve the universe. I met with limited her because I visited the past trying to replay moments for missed life lessons. The now her was experiencing a similar issue as limited her and wanted to evolve as not to keep repeating or recycling said experience. For years, all my experiences of darkness, loneliness, avoidance of emotional knowledge or attachment were thought to be a deliberate teaching of some sort. I thought it so because I liked it. I very much liked being dark, but always felt as though something was missing. I met another piece of energy, and he remembered himself, and he reminded me, balance is key. I told him my name was Keys. I am key, so therefore I am balanced. Nature is both beautiful and scary. I am beautiful and dark. I am nature. The key word was balance, and I began practicing being balanced. My plan for ground zero. I wanted very much to experience limited her. As mentioned earlier, limited her had a similar experience that now her was experiencing currently. I felt I wanted to know how and why limited her thought about things the way she did. I began to deliberately celebrate limited her, by emotionally and physically responding to things the way she did in the past. I ate a lot, and I near poisoned myself in the process of gaining some weight back. The first 2 days of Ground Zero, I cried about everything. I cried about being rejected by the wrong men. I cried about not being ready to fall in love. I cried that I was allowed to be awakened. I cried because I felt awakened. I cried because certain foods were poison in my body and the symptoms were clear as day instantaneously. I cried because I wanted to be loved by a man and experience spiritual love. I cried because I feared I may reincarnate to have to learn the lesson of male-female love because I might miss it in this lifetime. I cried because I know I have to give up control of what my old belief systems were. I cried because I know I have creative force residing within me. This went on for 2 days, and I awoke on the third day laughing. I laughed because I knew it didn't matter what I was in the past whilst I was asleep, not spiritually awakened yet. I laughed at all the things that limited me, including the experience I was having presently. I am a creative force. I am no longer limited. By end of day 2, I laughed at little things. Cats seems adorable to me. All life forms were important to me. The view of nature I am able to experience every day seemed overly colorful and flawless. I began to live. I allowed myself to experience a new, expanded reality by remembering how limited I was. I am no longer limited. I am limitless. I became excited and embraced, knowing my purpose at this present time. I recalled now, this was essentially how 23 Days of Kindness was born. It came to life to help now her submit to newly expanding her. Universe, please allow me to have an expansion in my spiritual life, an expansion in my abilities, understandings, and experiences. Universe, I ask that you bring in more and more multidimensional energies, abilities, and thought forms within my experience so that I can expand my consciousness. My reality construct is ever evolving. There will always be integration and expansion. I call myself Keys because I am. Tomorrow is day 3. Visualize realism. Learning how to vision plan Michael Beckwith style. Stay balanced.